Every single second spent in jail for the Pirate Bay was totally worth it. These were the words of Frederick Nage, the co-founder of the Pirate Bay. Despite being slapped with a massive fine of 46 million kronor, he was locked up alongside some of the world's most dangerous criminals. Interestingly, Frederick was the only inmate serving time for a virtual crime, while others were convicted of assault, murder, or worse. What is the Pirate Bay? For those who don't know, the Pirate Bay is a website that provides magnet links for data shared over torrents. In simple words, to download any movie, music, video, or game via torrent, you need a torrent index to search for the file and download its link. While many websites do this, the Pirate Bay stands at the absolute top globally. The true motive behind the site, Frederick shared that his time in prison wasn't entirely terrible, because he spent most of it reading letters from fans. It was then he realized how much the Pirate Bay meant to people. The founders didn't start the site to make money, get rich, or tighten their grip on big companies. They started it with a noble mission: to share information, culture, and knowledge freely across the world without the interference of corporate greed, bureaucracy, or political influence. Meeting of the masterminds before starting the site, Frederick was part of a Swedish anti-copyright group that organized protests and public debates to change existing copyright laws. This is where he met the other two co-founders, Gottfrid Svartholm and Peter Sunde. Together, they built the world's most controversial and legendary website. The background of the founders, born between the 1970s and 1980s, all three founders had fascinatingly similar backgrounds. Frederick, the oldest, was born in April 1978 and was a high school dropout. Gottfrid, the youngest member, was also a school dropout who worked as a computer hacker between 1990 and 2000. Peter Sunde worked on programming, hacking, and gaming projects before TPB, and also had to drop out of school due to poor family conditions. Despite lacking basic formal education, they smartly engineered a website that even the world's biggest superpowers couldn't permanently shut down. Peter's dark discovery from a young age, the trio was passionate about computers and coding. Peter became so skilled that a German tech company, Siemens, hired him to update their patient registration system using fingerprint and retina data. However, Peter soon uncovered a horrifying reality. The company was using this biometric data to identify immigrants and force them into illicit labor. Some immigrants even burned their hands or injured their eyes to avoid being matched in the system. Disgusted, Peter quit the job, joined the Swedish anti-copyright group, and met his future partners. Launching the Pirate Bay in 2003, Frederick and Peter discovered an anti-copyright organization called Pirat Byrån, the Piracy Bureau. With their support, Frederick pitched the idea of creating a BitTorrent tracker. After days and nights of coding by Peter and Gottfrid, the Pirate Bay was officially launched on September 15, 2003. Securing the infrastructure in 2004, Frederick and Peter launched their own web hosting company, PRQ, specifically to host the Pirate Bay. By hosting the data on their own servers, they ensured they wouldn't have to rely on third-party servers that could easily be shut down by legal challenges. Funding and rapid growth. As the site's popularity exploded, the founders met Carl Lundstrom, an entrepreneur who had recently sold his pharmaceutical company and had massive financial resources. Recognizing the site's potential, Carl provided the essential funding to scale up their servers and infrastructure. By 2006, the Pirate Bay was highly popular and openly challenging copyright holders. Funding and rapid growth. As the site's popularity exploded, the founders met Carl Lundstrom, an entrepreneur who had recently sold his pharmaceutical company and had massive financial resources. Recognizing the site's potential, Carl provided the essential funding to scale up their servers and infrastructure. By 2006, the Pirate Bay was highly popular and openly challenging copyright holders. Hollywood Strikes Back. Hollywood claimed that the site's piracy was causing them a massive $6.1 billion loss. The US government pressured Sweden, threatening trade restrictions if they didn't shut down the website. Bending to the pressure, Swedish police raided the Pirate Bay servers in Stockholm on May 21, 2006, seizing equipment and assuming the site was dead. The three-day resurrection. To Hollywood's absolute shock, the Pirate Bay was back online within just 3 days. How? The entire website was essentially a giant spreadsheet of links that had been compressed into a tiny 9 megabytes zip file. The massive servers confiscated by the police were only there to handle the heavy web traffic. Armed with this backup, they simply relocated their servers to the Netherlands and brought the site back to life. The Streisand effect furious, Hollywood partnered with tech giants like Google, Facebook, and Microsoft to hide the Pirate Bay's links from search results. However, human nature took over. The more the authorities tried to hide the site, the more curious people became. Users found direct ways to access it, and by 2008, it became the 97th most visited website in the world. Arrests and legal battles realizing they couldn't destroy the website, authorities targeted the individuals behind it. On April 17, 2009, Frederick, Gottfried, Peter, and Carl were found guilty of encouraging piracy. They were sentenced to a year in prison and slapped with a massive $3.5 million fine. On the run, the founders fled Sweden. Frederick moved between Thailand and Laos, eventually creating a fully legal file-sharing platform called Bay Files. However, he was arrested in August 2014 and served 200 days in a Swedish prison. Gottfried moved to Cambodia working as a hacker for WikiLeaks, but was arrested in 2012 and sentenced to 3.5 years. Peter joined the Pirate Party in Finland and ran for the European Parliament, but was also arrested in 2014 and served 5 months. The legacy that refuses to die. By late 2014, all the founders were in jail, and a massive police raid on December 9, 2014, successfully took the site offline. It seemed like the end. After their release, the founders moved on to legitimate IT projects and startups. However, a surprising twist occurred. The Pirate Bay had built a massive, loyal community. The unstoppable Hydra diehard fans had copied the site's entire database. Every time authorities took down one version of the Pirate Bay, users would upload exact clones on different servers and proxy domains across the globe. Even though the original founders are no longer connected to it, the legacy of the Pirate Bay lives on through thousands of passionate internet users. Despite the authorities' best efforts, the site has proven impossible to shut down permanently. And that is the unstoppable legacy of the Pirate Bay. Have you ever used this website? Let us know in the comments.